Hey everyone, it's your homeboy, your guy, the man with the plan, the kid next door, so much more, Zukashi King. And today, watching tonight rather, we're gonna delve in a little bit deeper into what makes me me and what made me me. We're gonna talk about a little bit about how I grew up, how I was raised, and how I got to where I am today. And a lot of this may have sensitive topics and sensitive conversation. So if you are someone who's below the age of 18, I would rather, if you are below the age of 18, please watch this with someone else sitting by you, or like a guardian or a parent, in case you hear stuff that is not kind for you. So that way you have a little bit of, basically a little guidance. This note that this video will have talks about traumatic experiences, mental health problems, and also a lot of other things that may bring a tear to your eye, or also some traumatic, unlock some traumatic past or PTSD of some sort. So, uh, yeah, this is also a sensitive topic for me, and quite frankly, I haven't talked about this to anyone in a while. This is actually my first time about talking about myself openly to the media interface, and it's gonna be. I will admit it's gonna be touchy. There may be parts where I cry or something, but it's all in good health, and I want to just share my experience as a person and to actually tell how lucky I am in life to be where I'm at right now. So, without further ado, let's get into it. Every time I start a video, I usually start with, "Hey, it's your boy, your guy, the man with the plan, the kid next door, and so much more, Zukashi King." But Zukashi King is not my real name. Actually, my real name is Jaron Daniel Shade. But that wasn't my real name to begin with from birth. How is this possible, you may ask? Well, I'll tell you. I was born January 8th in the year 1999. I was a private adoption case, meaning in a private adoption, a parent or a guardian figure gives up custody of their child and sends them to potentially be foster parented or adopted. In this case, I was given up as a private adoption at infancy, right after I was born. And it took me, and every time I hear that story, it kind of brings to my mind, was I not good enough for the person that gave birth to me? Did she not want me? Did she not love me? Was she giving me up for a good reason or a bad reason? Was she giving me up because I was different? Was she giving me up because of security reasons? I don't know. And the other thing is, she never mentioned my birth father. So I have no idea who my birth father is. And probably will never know. I have no idea who my birth mother is. And there may be a chance that I get to. Because there is a thing with being able to find your your biological parent through private adoption, but we'll get to that later. But I was adopted at a month old, so a month after I was born, I was adopted by a loving, kind family who actually had experience in adoption, with the fact that they adopted two girls before me who turned out to be two of my four oldest sisters. Two out of four of my oldest sisters. And well, you can imagine, I was adopted, so. But the thing special about my adoption that I cherish even to this day is how happy my adopted mother was when she got me. So previously, she had been wanting a baby boy, and she had been praying for one. And God told her, "We get ready for our son," basically. So she quit her job. She started making room in the house for a baby boy. She started getting baby boy clothing. And all and after that, when I was born, the the adoption agency known as Bethany Christian Service called up my adopted mom and said, "We have a baby boy." And she said yes. And when they held me in when she held me in her arms, she says that it was God that told her to call me Jared. And Jared, funny enough, is a Hebrew name meaning crying of rejoicing. And I can imagine that my mom was crying with rejoicement for that day. So, growing up, I wasn't the best child. In fact, I was pretty much a horrible child. I will say on my part. I I literally was a difficult child to manage. If I had to name three words that describe me from the ages, well, growing up, I would have to say belligerent, defiant, and rebellious. Yeah, so all three of those words were would have been a perfect description for me in my past life. At 3, I don't remember much of my childhood between 1 and 5 years old, but I do know that as a 3 year old age, it was then my parents found out that I had mental disability and I had brain damage. They had taken me to a doctor because they figured something was not right. So they took me to a doctor. The doctor scanned my brain, said he has brain damage. I'm not completely sure of what caused the scar on my brain to form. I believe personally that it could have been due to my birth mother ingesting like probably alcohol or cigarettes or nicotine. But again, I am not completely sure. Uh, so yeah, I don't know much about my young childhood between the ages of 1 and 5. Although I do remember, and I'm not sure if this is a joke or if this was truth in my family, but some people in my family have stated that my first lie was at 3 years old. But I believe that was metaphorically meaning that I was a quick liar at a young age. 5 years old is when I really start to remember most of my life as a child. At 5, I was put into kindergarten. And to be honest, kindergarten was not a good year for me. From the ages of 5 to 6, most of my kindergarten years were hectic because I literally would pitch fits, refuse to pay attention, wouldn't sit still, and would literally get into shenanigans and trouble. I was aggressive, I was violent, and I was very rudely behaving in school. My teachers would have to restrain me a lot. I would have to be sent to the principal a lot, and you can imagine the stress it put on my family. And I wasn't just in that time. At 6 years old, my adopted mother decided it was time to homeschool me. Even there, I barely managed to stay attentive and stay focused on studies. And as a result, I was held back a lot in classes, in grades. I was smart, really smart. But when it came down to sitting down and doing schoolwork, I didn't have the attentive focus. So, yeah, that was how it went. And at home, my behavior became even worse at that time. And it wasn't just at home; it was in public too. There were literally, hardly any times where I wouldn't pitch a fit in a grocery store, or at church, or even at the park, or even at some outing or event. Literally, there were times where my parents, my mom namely, when my dad was busy and she was busy helping the kids, and I wouldn't pay attention or or behave. She would have to call on other people, close friends, friends in the family who were in the same area or same event or something. She would have to ask help from strangers too sometimes to calm me down. And literally, I I look back on it all the time, and at that time, and I feel so ashamed and so embarrassed. I have There are images in my mind where I remember that I had to be restrained or taken out to the car. And those memories in my mind repeat themselves. And I always wonder, what could I have done different? If I was given a chance, could I have been better? If I had the chance to go back in time, knowing what I know now from then, would I have done better? Would I have behaved more? And yeah, it wasn't an easy life. Skipping on to age 8 years old. I know we went through 5, but like I said, I didn't remember most of my life. 5 was pretty much the first age that I really remembered a few things. 8 was the most I remember out of my younger childhood, between 1 and 8. But skipping to 8 years old, I was in 3rd grade, I will say. So I was catching up to my grades, but I still was way behind in studying. 8 years old was the pinnacle of me becoming a terrible, terrible child. It wasn't the peak, but it's the pinnacle, the starting pinnacle. And a lot of times, that is the age I remember that out of most days, I was violent. I was aggressive. I wouldn't listen. That is the age that the belligerence and the rebellion and the defiant spirits in me literally went full force. Not started going full force. And again, it wasn't just at home. It was in public too. 8 years old was also a tough time for me because a lot of people and a lot of kids knew that I had mental health, and I think this played a part in them not wanting to be around me, because I wasn't on the same mindset as them. I wasn't like them in any way, and I feel like a lot of kids at that age, try to stay away from me purposely, because they were really, really found me weird. They were just, I feel like some of them may have been judgmental, but again, I can't say because I don't know. I can't get in their heads and understand. But I feel like some of it did have to do with prejudice or judging, like saying, "Oh, this guy's weird, and this guy's crazy. He's mentally insane. What is his problem?" I can remember sometimes when my sister's friends would come over, and they would ask her, "What's his problem? What's he like that?" And it was difficult. And I knew people would say these things. And I knew how different I was. And in that time in my life, I wanted to be what people would term as normal. I wanted to be better. And I was so embarrassed by who I was that I literally wished at times that I wasn't who I was. There were some certain points in my life where I wished I was white instead of this skin color. Because in my life, knowing that I was adopted by white parents, I had this mentality thinking that white people were perfect. They didn't get into any trouble. And I thought my skin color was what made me evil. Luckily, I had parents in my life who told me, that is not true. You are special. You are very special the way you are. Don't think that your skin color makes you evil. And there were many times when I believed this, that I was evil because of my skin color. And I would have given. I literally, at that time, I may not have known it, but I would have given anything to be like white, to be white, just so I could be good. But that false theory is what led me to also hate myself. And at a young age, I hated myself a lot. And I took it out on a lot of people. And to be honest, I don't know. It was hard. It was hard being me, and it was hard being casted aside by so many peers my age just because I was different from them. We all struggles with demons in our lives, but very few people actually see their demons come to life. At 8 years old, I remember at this time, and this was a very specific moment in my time. One night I was asleep in bed, and I woke up. It was the middle of the night, and it was very dark. I woke up, and I saw demons floating around in my room. They were coming up to me. They were right in front of me. They would float around me. Faces, pale faces, that actually would haunt me. And I can't express enough, I knew these were demons. Deep down inside, I knew these were demons. And I was so scared. Not even hiding under the blankets kept them away. It just made things worse. I remember having a dream after I went back to sleep. And in that dream, I saw a demon. One of the demons I had seen, one of the exact demons I saw, went to a council of demons and told them the exact words that I had said to it. The demon had told them, he said, go away. It was probably at that point when I had woken up, I knew what I was seeing. And I knew what I was seeing was real. As the day I got up, I told my parents mainly. They did everything they could to calm me down, and they prayed over me. But that feeling of being watched by those demons never went away until a long, long time after. And off and on, I would see these demons at a young age. I think the last time I saw them was probably when I was 13. And that was it. It's not fun to wrestle with your demons, because sometimes those demons are part of you. It's the anger, the hate, the sorrow, the doubt, the fear inside of you creates your demons. And sometimes those demons are a part of you. But there are ways to get rid of them. But everybody has their own way. For me, and this came on later in life, for me, facing how I faced my demons was to find the courage and knowing the truth that I was better than what these demons made me to be. And it took me a long time to realize that. Even at 13, when I accepted that, when I realized that, I had to learn to accept it. It's like facing the darker side of you. When you look in a mirror, you see a reflection. But sometimes you have to look deeper beneath the skin. When you see demons, you need to know how to confront those demons. And it's not easy. It's not. But even so, you have to learn to confront them. And then you have to learn sometimes to accept them. Because acceptance is key to fighting your inner demons. Acceptance of who you are and of what you can be. That is key. It took me a while to learn that. From age 8 to age 13. At 8 years old, my family and we started taking martial arts as a family practice sport, and we learned key self defenses and key attack offensive moves. To me, to my family, it was probably fun and being able to defend yourself. For me, it had a different effect. For me, it boosted my anger and the feeling of being able to fight boosted my anger, boosted my ego, and boosted my aggression to the point where I got aggressive with my family. And that aggression did not die for a while. That aggression was the main part of what happened to me, what would happen, and what would that aggression was the main part of what would happen, or what would cause my life to change for a lot of reasons, due to a lot of reasons. So, again, I took martial arts. I wasn't exactly, on top of being aggressive, I wasn't exactly as quick as the other students. And heck, I wasn't as serious as the other students either. I was, again, belligerent, rebellious, and defiant. I wouldn't accept authority. I'd go off the deep end, trying to show off. And I was basically termed a class clown. A class clown, basically, and it was true. I was a class clown. I really wanted the attention. That's probably the age that I turned into a narcissist, thinking that the world should revolve around me. Thinking that I should get the attention, that I needed to be the best to get the attention. It wasn't until 12 years old that my parents were told by the instructors, he can't do this anymore. And it wasn't surprisingly because of the aggression. It was because I was I wasn't coordinated. I wasn't quick enough to learn with the other students. Part of me is angry for that. Because I understood that I was slow. I understood that I was not learning as quick as other students. I understood that it took up a lot of time. But I don't think that the teachers should have kicked me out of their dojo for that reason. If anything, they should have tried to arrange times where they could teach me. But again, I don't think they had that time. And I'm not angry so much as angry for it, more than rather than disappointed. I was disappointed because at the point where I was taken out of Taekwondo, I was at a point where I was just getting to the advanced levels of defending and offensiveness. And I was excited. All my other siblings and all both my parents and my sisters and my siblings, my baby brother, they all advanced to the point where they got their black belts. Some of them stopped right there. Others pursued on to get their second and third degree black belts. I wanted to be one of those. I wanted to advance, even after I would get my black belt. But instead I had to stop. And I stopped at the purple belt, which was the entry level to the advanced teachings. And part of me was angry. Because again, I felt like I was being judged. Judged for being slow, being inadequate, being unable to catch up. And it made me feel a way like people were going to give up on me in life just because I didn't go their speed. Bumping back down a little in my age, 10 years old, my life was moderate for a young man. I was in 5th grade, and as a young child at a decade, my life was moderate. So there were times when I got into trouble. And there were times when I was okay. Yes, the trouble may have outweighed the okay parts of my life, but I'm not sure exactly how it did or what exact memories. There are only a few memories I have of being 10. Namely, that, well, it was either at 9 or 10 that my oldest sister got married. And this played a significant part of my life, not because that she got married, but because of the person that I was paired up with in her wedding. It was actually a friend of mine that was in the church that I was raised in. And this was the first person that I had actually had a crush on. And for a while after that, I developed a stronger crush. But the thing was, she did not feel the same way about me. And when I figured that out, for the first time, I had this heartbreak that I was not prepared for. And again, I thought it was because I was different. Because I was judged of how different I was. And that may not have been the case. But it was how I felt. And in any case, it brought me down. It made me hate myself more. And in hating myself, I started hating the world. And in hating the world, I blamed the world. And in blaming the world, I took my aggression out on the world and those closest to me. A lot of my hate caused my aggression. And a lot of my aggression caused me to lose people in my life that I cared about. People that I should have been there for. That I could have been there for. And could have had developed a closer bond with. But I allowed the hate to get to me. And one thing about hate, it doesn't just stay with you. It moves. It connects to other emotions. And it becomes worse and worse and worse till you have to let it all out in aggression. Well, folks, we're going to end this video today with this topic. Next time I'll be doing another video of this. I will be exploring more from my age of 12 on to age 15. So we just had a breakdown of the first decade of my life, of the life of Jaren Shade, who initially you know as Zukashi King. The title of this series, this autobiography series, is A Boy with a Mind of His Own. And that's how I really felt. That's how I still feel. I'm a guy. I'm a boy with a mind of his own. I feel like that as a boy with a mind of his own, I am responsible and allowed to be me. I am creative, I am passionate, I am strong-minded, and I am caring. And I'm really happy that you guys could watch this video and sit down and take time out to listen to this. I hope you learned some lessons in this video while I was discussing it with you. And remember, be kind, be safe, be kind, be swell. Peace. When every smile's a chase to run off through no work could show us strong. He's the boy with a mind of his own. He's the boy